Jerry Mallory here for SB Nation and PrideDetroit.com. The NFL Combine is over. I'll give you three, we'll say, immediate responses to the NFL Combine. And then we'll look ahead to the NFL Draft. We'll throw some names around. This team is much more complete than maybe the 4-12 season and years before. But there are still a few pieces that need to be put in place. And hopefully this will come by re-signing some guys and bringing some free agents in. Now, on to the Combine. My impression is, number one, Justin Gilbert. Now, I'm the first to tell you, I don't want to draft a cornerback this year at all, much less in the first few rounds. However, if number 10 comes around and Justin Gilbert's name is called, I won't be as upset. He looked really good. He was very fast, ran the 40 faster than we thought. He seems to be a complete player. So maybe if they're drafting him, you add the fact that Terrell Austin has been pretty good at coaching defensive backs. Maybe they view him as that shutdown type corner. Again, I don't endorse drafting a cornerback in the first round, but after the performance that one Justin Gilbert put on, if he is the name that's called, I would be a little bit more comfortable. Number two, the possibility to trade down, it actually could happen this year. I know it's the favorite, most commonly held theme for Detroit sports fans as long as I can remember. Trade down in the draft. Trade down in the draft. We've done it only a few times. We did it the year we drafted Goster Cherilus with Kansas City. We did it the year we drafted Roy Williams with the Cleveland Browns. Trading down is often not an option. However, this year, there's so much talent, someone's going to fall. It could be a quarterback. Is Cleveland really that enamored with Derek Carr? Let's think about this for a second. If they're that enamored with Derek Carr, they don't feel as though he's going to be around. Now, they have 2 picks. They have their early pick in the first round. They have 2 picks in the first round. They have their early pick. They have the pick from the Colts. But let's say, they feel like, hey, Minnesota's going to draft him. Maybe, the Rams or whoever. He's not going to be there by I believe it's the 24th pick. If they draft him with their top 10 pick, this draft changes because there's a great chance that a Blake Bortles, a Teddy Bridgewater, or Johnny Manziel is available at the 10th pick. And if one of those guys are available, or even a Sammy Watkins, for whatever reason, we don't want to draft him. I don't know why we wouldn't. Same with Khalil Mack. I think it's only one reason why we would potentially not draft Khalil Mack, which we'll talk about a little bit later. One of these top guys is there at 10, especially the quarterbacks. I see some teams in the 10 to 15, 16 range that would actually draft a quarterback, especially if his name is Johnny Manziel. St. Louis Rams, are they confident in Sam Bradford? Maybe, but maybe not. You have the aforementioned Cleveland Browns. They're way at 24. I don't know if we want to move back that far. The New York Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have Super Bowl winning, Hall of Fame potential quarterbacks, but they're not getting any younger. Maybe they want to get younger and bring in a guy that they can groom for 1 or 2 years. And even the Dallas Cowboys, yes, they just re-signed Romo to that monster deal. But you never know with Jerry Jones. So the possibility, because of all the talent that's around this year, could lead to the Lions being actually able to trade back. Not too far. We still have some talented players that will be available around 15, 16, 17 that we'd like to get our hands on. Now, number 3, if there is not a Sammy Watkins there at number 10, I'm not sold on your Mike Evans or even a Marquise Lee at 10. Why? Not because they aren't good. I mean, Mike Evans ran faster than what many of us expected. Marquise Lee reminds me of Keenan Allen, a guy that just was good in college for whatever reason is not given that much credit now as he transitions to the NFL. But I think he'll put up big numbers. But it's the fact that the gap in the number 10 pick, let's say it's a Mike Evans, all the way to the 2nd round where we pick, I believe, 11th, and then a Jordan Matthews is there, Dante Moncrief is there, Devontae Adams. I don't think that gap is that huge. There are some great wide receivers in the draft this year. Brandon Cooks, I don't know, he ran so fast he probably won't fall. But that gap between your 1st round Mike Evans and your 2nd round Matthews or Moncrief, etc., even the Kelvin Benjamin slide, I don't think that gap is that huge. Meaning, at number 10, I'd be more comfortable with Clinton Dix. I'd be more comfortable with even Anthony Barr. I think Anthony Barr is going to slide in this draft, which we'll talk about later, maybe all the way to the 2nd round. This could be a story similar to, who was that last year? His name escapes me at the moment. But, guys fall, time and time again. Bjorn Warner fell a little bit further than we expected. Demontre Moore, that's the name I'm looking for. He fell. He slid. That could be Anthony Barr this year. But anyways, at number 10, a Ha Clinton Dix might be there. Khalil Mack could be there. Justin Gilbert, as I mentioned, I'm warming up to him specifically at the cornerback position. So if Sammy Watkins isn't there, there's plenty of talent at wide receiver to go around. Now, free agency is coming around. I'm going to throw some names out there, some realistic guys. First of all, it's Jeremy Maclin. Now, you know good and well where you heard this from first. Private Detroit. These videos right here, over a month ago, we talked about Jeremy Maclin being a top target of the Lions. Like I said, Martin Mayhew liked him, wanted to draft him the year that Brandon Pettigrew was there. But the Eagles snapped up Maclin before we did. So there's already that connection. Obviously, we have a need for a wide receiver. You heard it here first. I told you guys we're going to have to draft and sign a receiver, especially so is the case now that Nate Burleson is gone. Maclin fits this bill. You go over to NFL.com, they're saying, man, Maclin would fit good in a one-year show-me type of deal. Where? In Denver or in Detroit. Where'd you hear that from first? Right here, Private Detroit, especially Sean Ewell. This guy is always on top of things. If you're hearing something, a lot of times we're talking about it already. But yes, we mentioned Jeremy Maclin before. It may take 2 years. It may be around $6 million. Now, he has the injury history, the concerns, but is very talented. I don't think he's going to break the bank. He's never broken 1,000 yards in one season. He does have a 10-touchdown season, very explosive, but lots of injuries and even ailments. That's going to keep him from signing that big contract. But like I said, 2 years, $6 or $7 million. Here's a guy that I think the Lions will target and have a decent shot at getting, especially now that Riley Cooper is re-signed with the Eagles. So more than likely, Maclin won't be back. Moving on, we're going to have to replace Rasheem Mathis this year. Now you're saying, Rasheem, what do we, he wasn't that effective. Well, actually, he was. We have to replace what he brought to the table. A veteran cornerback, someone that can play in the nickel, someone that when injuries come, it seems like our corners are always injured, he can slide in and even start. In case Jonte Green or Bill Bentley or Chris Greenwood, maybe they aren't up to the task. And, we're hoping that they would develop by now. They're entering their 3rd year. Things happen. You need that veteran presence. Look like Slane Houston will be fine at the cornerback position, but so many things can happen. To me, Charles Peanut Tillman fits the Rasheem Mathis bill. Now, how much is he going to demand? Just a few years ago, he was considered Defensive Player of the Year candidate, but last year he started to show age, started to show injury. I think he can sign a reasonable 1 to 2 year deal as well without breaking the bank. Another guy, Bernard Pollard. Now, he's not a guy you're bringing in to start. However, we're playing more traditional strong and free safeties. He has a history with Terrell Austin there in Baltimore. He could probably sign a 1-year contract and he'll back up your strong safety, which will probably end up being Glover Quinn. Depends on what we do in the draft and free agency. Quinn can kind of play the strong. He can play the free. He's versatile. And don't forget, guys, we're talking about drafting, and you hear T.J. Ward and Jarius Byrd thrown around. The Lions may be comfortable with Don Carey, who has shown flashes. At this point, if you're penciling in right now, Don Carey is your free safety. He may actually be your free safety when the season begins. But a guy like Bernard Pollard, I think you're going to, whatever you do, either Carey is your backup free safety or your starting free safety. You've got Glover Quinn probably starting at strong safety. Bernard Pollard can back you up. Now, those are some reasonable guys. I want to name 2 break the bank candidates. Probably won't happen. We have to re-sign guys like Sean Hill. Hopefully, looks like Joique Bell definitely will be re-signed. The 2 break the bank guys, Jarius Byrd and the aforementioned Brian Orakpo. Now, Byrd, again, he fits that free safety bill. I think he's going to want more money than we'll be able to pay. But we do have a need at the safety. Maybe they will talk to him. We've been linked to him in the past before when he was a Buffalo Bill. Now, Brian Orakpo is interesting. According to Terrell Austin and the Lions brass, all of our linebackers are signed through this year, this upcoming season. We'll be using them to rush the linebacker. Maybe it's the truth. Maybe it's a smoke screen. But the way I see it, this hybrid offense is going to need a pass rushing linebacker. Maybe that's Shazier, drafting him in the 2nd round. Maybe we put hope that DeAndre Levy can become that, or Whitehead. But maybe they're all along saying, you know what? When we have this extra money, let's try to break the bank and bring in a Brian Orakpo. Jarius Byrd, Brian Arakpo, a little bit more far-fetched, but I'm throwing those names out there. And like I mentioned before, the only reason we would not draft a Khalil Mack is if we broke the bank on a guy that would be our starting outside linebacker who's still young in the Brian Arakpo. Just throwing a few names out there. Who do you want to see? What are some names that I didn't mention? Do you agree or disagree? As well as your opinions now that the combine is over. What direction do you want us to head in? Etc., etc. Subscribe. Keep watching. Tell a friend. Tell that friend to tell a friend. And then we can have this big wide community. You guys know it. Private Detroit is where it's at. You know the website, www.privatedetroit.com. The best, the latest, the greatest Lions news, views, and opinions. And occasionally you'll get a guy like me talking on your YouTube screen. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. As always, until next time, which will be in a few days, this has been Jerry Mallory signing off for SB Nation and PrivateDetroit.com.